a guide to maintaining focus on your miracle. Life lessons have taught me that everything has an explanation. While we may not always understand it immediately, when we do, it becomes much easier to correct what needs to be corrected. When it comes to miracles, let them happen as they will. We may not know how, but we can trust that the story will unfold. Remember this: the what belongs to you. The how belongs to God. If you worrying too much about the how, you're interfering with what is not yours. You are encroaching on God's domain. Defining your what requires faith, and faith requires focus. When you know your what and are certain of its meaning, you need focus. Without it, you lose faith. Faith is nurtured by focus. Faith is spiritual, while focus is emotional. This means that on your journey to your miracle, things may happen. These events are not meant to shake your faith or diminish God's power, but rather to distract you. This is what I want to alert you to: how to maintain focus. 1. Limit your intimate friends. Proverbs 18:24 says, "He who has many friends may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." Many intimate friends inevitably come with intimacy, the constant influx of negativity from them, the world, and even yourself. Imagine this: you're on your way to work, and a stranger insults you. You likely ignore them and move on. But when a loved one says the same thing, it can be devastating. Why? Because you've given them the key to your emotions. Intimacy unlocks access to your emotions, and this can lead to distractions. You can't stop loving people, but you don't need to be intimate with everyone you love. Limit your intimate friends to avoid losing your focus. 2. Choose friends with similar values. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits." Some translations say bad companionships corrupt good habits. Companionship signifies a relationship of intimacy. Again, we see the importance of limiting intimate friends, but now we must also consider who those friends are. Choose those who share your principles and values. This is crucial because your emotions will inevitably cause imperfections in your how, but God's work is always perfect. It's time to make a list of people who cannot be your friends. If it's a long list, that's your choice. You choose your friends, and those choices shape you. You can only be hurt emotionally if you allow it. This often stems from a lack of knowledge. A wounded person cannot make permanent choices because they will be driven by pain. Heal your wounds before making lasting decisions. 3. Understand the difference between a friend, a colleague, and a visitor. A true friend welcomes you into their home, shares their space, and opens their refrigerator. How many friends do you have like this? Very few. You may have many visitors and colleagues, but true friends are rare. Many friends lead to ruin and lost focus. Choose the opposite of bad company. Bad company corrupts good habits, meaning it will corrupt those who already have good habits. It will not corrupt someone who is already weak, can easily swayed. Remember, you will be corrupted by those who think differently than you. If you introduce someone to Jesus and they don't accept him, move on. Don't linger. You are ready to maintain your focus and experience your miracle. It is your choice. The power of choosing, a guide to living a fulfilling life. This passage delves into the importance of making intentional choices and surrounding ourselves with positive influences. It emphasizes that true happiness comes from embracing our imperfections, fostering genuine connections, and maintaining a positive outlook. The author begins by advocating for genuine friendships. They advise choosing a select few close friends who share your values and beliefs, reminding us that true friends are not perfect, but rather honest, acknowledging mistakes quickly, and offering forgiveness readily. The quality of our friendships influences our choices, and surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals helps us stay focused on our goals. The passage then shifts to the importance of managing expectations. We are advised not to place undue expectations on others, recognizing that true hope lies only in God. While it is wonderful to have supportive relationships, we must rely on our own inner strength and faith. The next point addresses the detrimental effects of complaining. The author emphasizes that complaining is a form of negativity that infects those around us, spreading our pain rather than fostering hope. Instead, we should cultivate an attitude of gratitude, finding blessings in every circumstance. This aligns with the biblical passage in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, urging us to give thanks in all circumstances. The passage further warns against engaging with complainers, emphasizing that they are seeking allies, not solutions. We must be careful not to become enablers by fueling their negativity. Similarly, we are urged to avoid those who hold on to grudges and seek revenge, emphasizing that true justice seeks restoration, not retribution. Finally, the passage ends with a message of hope and resilience, reminding us that even amidst difficult times, we have the power to choose a different path, to reinvent ourselves, and to renew our spirits. This reinvention is a challenging process, but it is made possible by the grace and love of God. We are not defined by our past mistakes, but by our capacity for growth and transformation. We are constantly writing our stories, and the choice is always ours to create a future filled with hope and purpose. We're renewing ourselves, finding faith in the face of difficulty. It's another Sunday, and we've hit another roadblock. It feels like we're constantly struggling to make progress, while God is up in heaven simply taking notes on our failures. We're doing this on the ground, in the midst of grace and love, because you are the King. You haven't succeeded. Start again, rebuild, because God never gets tired of our fresh starts. That's what I've learned, even though it's often hard to believe in renewal, reinvention, and starting over. Sometimes, these things can feel impossible because life can be shrouded in a thick fog, obscuring our vision. We may hear things, but we don't truly listen. We listen mechanically, but not with the spiritual intention of embracing truth and using it to guide our lives and change ourselves. The clouds that block our view can feel incredibly heavy, making it hard for even the light to penetrate. Even as the light tries to show us the way, the density of our problems, the heaviness of our anxieties, prevent it from breaking through. During such periods, our hearts become weary and downtrodden. We look at life without much hope, with few possibilities for facing tomorrow. Maybe you'd planned a great vacation for your family, saving diligently, only to have unemployment knock on your door. Your dream trip suddenly becomes a budget-conscious affair. Or perhaps you made a meticulous plan for achieving a goal, only to have a global crisis derail it, leaving you frustrated and disappointed. You might be an exceptionally careful driver, with a spotless record, never even having a fender bender. But one night, while driving, you encounter a reckless driver who, under the influence of alcohol, loses control and crashes into you, causing potential physical injuries. You could have studied hard, earned every qualification, built an impressive resume, but the job you longed for goes to someone who's the boyfriend of the nephew of the person who makes the decision. Suddenly, you find yourself questioning the value of your efforts, wondering if it was all in vain. Life can feel agonizingly unfair. I've given these for examples, but I could easily offer 50 more possibilities, illustrating the difficulties we all face. Such situations can leave us with that dreadful feeling of uselessness. It's not just a temporary state of mind. It's a suffocating, oppressive darkness that consumes us, weighing down our hearts. It's the feeling of living in a useless period, a time when life seems utterly meaningless. We might find ourselves thinking, "This is beyond anything I could have imagined in my worst nightmares. What's the point?" Such periods lead us to question our fate. Depending on your background and how you embarked on your faith journey, you might have been taught that faith in God meant avoiding these periods of feeling useless, that God would always provide sunshine, and your life would be a constant journey of success and joy. But then life throws you a curveball, a bad diagnosis, unemployment, financial crisis, a car accident. We question the randomness, the apparent lack of purpose. Are we questioning faith itself, or the assumptions we've made about it? What is the value of faith, then, if it doesn't guarantee that everything will go our way? Faith is not about making everything turn out perfectly. It's about continuing, even when everything is falling apart. It's about keeping on trying, keeping on fighting, even when everything seems hopeless. This is where faith steps in. It's not about the person who seems to have it all, always happy and carefree, enjoying life to the fullest. You don't need faith for that. Faith makes its presence known, becomes powerful and meaningful, in the face of adversity. Even when things are falling apart, faith means not questioning who God is, but preparing to face life's challenges head-on. Our problems aren't about how much faith we have. They're simply a fact of life. What's the fact? You're alive. Problems are a natural part of being alive. Have you ever noticed how your heart is beating? How you're breathing right now while you're listening to me? It means you have the potential for a lot of problems. If your heart stopped, your problems would be solved. But it would create a new problem for someone else. Life is about navigating these complex, challenging situations, the news we don't want to hear, It's not about the amount of faith you have. Faith doesn't change situations. It changes how we respond to them. Your faith doesn't alter the world. It empowers you to deal with it. Faith is about opening your heart to God and allowing Him to do something incredible within you. The ability to keep going even when life gets incredibly tough. That is faith. Faith is about the way you respond to life's questions, not the problems themselves. Life's challenges are about life, not about the amount of faith you have. Faith doesn't solve problems. Faith deals with the heart. You deal with the problems,